Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to this video covering the Restaurant Project Pack Child Theme. Just going to touch on some of the basic things you might want to change. A couple parts of this theme are pretty heavy code-wise, like the menu section, especially in the forms. So I wouldn't recommend changing those too much, but I will show you some things that you can do, or at least where that is in the CSS. There, my hat seems tricky. There we go. Okay, so first off, I have fonts written down. But before that, I recommend that you either use the inside of the child pack that you got. Inside, there's a restaurant zip folder. Inside that is the style CSS. I would save this as a backup. I usually duplicate it and call it like style original or something like that. That way, you can open this one up in a code editor, and then you could make edits here and paste them, replace that what you have in Appearance Editor. Let me open up an example there so we can see what that's like. So on yours, if you go to Appearance Editor, it should load up the style CSS, which instead of this Josephine one is going to be this one, Restaurant Project Pack. And so then you would select all this, delete it, and then paste in your new one that you worked on. But you wouldn't have anything to fear because you made a backup of the original one. So that's what I normally do, or sometimes I'll go into that style sheet and I'll just go in, select it all, copy, and then go to my editor, make a new file, paste it in, and just save that as an original somewhere. So if I jack anything up really bad, I can go back here and just pull out that section that I jacked up or whatever. Okay, so, or the other option is you can go to the Divi Theme Options area and just paste overrides to the CSS in here. So that's how we'll be doing it now. But normally I just replace the style sheet CSS, normally what I do. Unless it's like a few things I want to change, then I would do it here. Okay, so definitely back up the theme style sheet if you're going to change it. If you're just going to do overrides in here, then you're probably fine putting them in here. But even when you're done, I would take all this code in here and save that in a file somewhere. That way you have it just in case if you update Divi and for some reason it erases this for some crazy reason it shouldn't, but you have it. So that's my spiel on the CSS and backing it up. Next I'm going to go over the fonts that are used here. So a couple of these fonts do not come with Divi. I don't, Oswald here does. That one is in Divi. But this one here, I think it's called Abril Fatface. This guy right here. It does not come with Divi. It is a Google font, and so I am loading it here in the integration tab. You should have a couple things here, and here's the Google font Abril Fatface font, or Abril, I don't know how to say it. And then also here is Font Awesome. So this is just pulling down a specific version of Font Awesome. But what I do on my projects is if you go to fontawesome.io and you go to the Get Started tab, you can put your email address in there, and they'll give you a script embed code that you can use instead here in the head. And I would use that instead because, like it says, it comes straight from the CDN. Updates are easy to do then. Or it's auto, super simple upgrade, stuff like that. So that's the way I would do it. But just to let you know that I do have that there. And then lastly, I wanted to show you, this is the editor that I've been using lately, brackets.io. If you go here, I believe when you click download, it'll detect whether you're on a Mac or PC. And there's a way to make it dark interface, like I'm using. The reasons I love this is that, number one, it has multiple cursors, so if I wanted to change all these transitions to 0.7, I could just command click and I can just change backspace and change them all to 7 or all to 3. That's pretty powerful, time saver. The other thing I like about it is this dark overlay here. It's got a background color of this thing. Well, if I just hover here, it shows me that it looks like it's like a dark gray, 60%. That 0.6 is 60% opacity. If I right click this and hit quick edit, I can change it right here and it'll update my numbers. So let me go ahead and just copy this real quick and put a new one there. Let me close that. So if I quick edit this and say, oh, I want blue 100%, so it's just gonna, you can see that it's changing my values there, and then I can be done. So now if I hover over this one, I get the gray. This one should be blue. So that's pretty sweet in this guy. Okay, so I've covered that. And the reason why I grabbed Font Awesome is because I'm using it for these fonts right here. And so if I go to my menu, that's the first thing I'll touch on here is those, how to work with those. So let me bring back up fontawesome.io. There we go. Let me get rid of that. Okay, so there was an Elegant Themes article about this that I got this from, so I can't take credit for it. But basically, you have a custom link here, and in the URL, you put in, you know, the link to whatever you're going to use. So let's say LinkedIn. All right, so I'm going to put in LinkedIn as my URL text here, and then for the link text, I'm going to go and find, I'm going to copy this one here. Actually, I'm just going to go here, go to the icons, and I'm going to search for LinkedIn and pick the one I want. I think I'll just do the IN, this one. Click on that, and I'm just going to grab this guy right here. Copy it. That looks great. Oops, I didn't want to do it there. I wanted to do it up here. There you go. Add to the menu. And then what I'd probably do is, let me see here. Am I doing classes on here? Oh, I am. Cool. You can also see I'm doing a CSS class of Font Awesome icon, so I'll put that right here. And if you don't have that CSS class option, at the very top of your page in screen options, you got to make sure that is turned on. And then if you want these to open up in a different window, right now if I click on Instagram, it takes the same window, which I'm fine with. If I wanted that to be different, then I would check this link target as well, and then you could choose, you know, open up that open up the LinkedIn in a new tab like so. Alright, let me save this real quick. Refresh. So there's our LinkedIn. If I click on it, new tab, LinkedIn. I wouldn't go too crazy with all these, and the other reason why we're targeting these with a CSS class of Font Awesome icon is that when we go to mobile, we're lining those up and making them a little bigger so people's fingers can touch them. So if you have like 7 of these, it's not going to quite work. I'd do 2 or 3, maybe 4. Just know the more you add on here, the more issues you're going to have if you have more menu items and try to set the spacing and stuff. You're going to have to mess with that. Alright, so let me get rid of that one. Yeah, I don't want LinkedIn on there. Save. So that's how you use the social icons, Font Awesome, in the menu, how we're doing that. Let me go ahead and refresh. And let me see what else we're doing here that is unique. The menu. So the menu is a beast. The menu in the CSS code here. Well, first of all, going back to the fonts, I mean, this is where you would, if you didn't want all the headings to use the headings H1, 2, and 3 to use this font, you would just, and you want to be able to pick that font in the customizer, you would delete that. And it would choose the font for H1, 2, 3 there in the customizer, or you can just change it here. or copy this. And if I copy this and I go to theme options, general, and let's say I put in here, let's say I just take out this first option like so and save it. So now this Discover should be Play Fair Display, and it is. So that's probably how I would, because that's doing H1s and H2s, and then H3, 4, 5, and 6 are Oswald, and so then you could copy this and change that here too. So let me go ahead and save that back. So that's how, if you don't like that heading, that would be how to change that those H1s and H2s there. And as far as the color of these, I believe I'm setting that in the, that's also in the style sheet here, title, that H2. Looks to be like on line 182 there at the end. So I'm going to go down to line 182. Yep, here we are. Title H2, and there's the color that I'm assigning that. Otherwise, it would just go to whatever color. I think probably is white. Yeah, it's just going to go to white, which is fine too. And if I change it here in one spot, it's going to change them everywhere, which is nice. So I don't have to go through every text module and update it. So yeah, it has to do with the fonts and the headings. And this style sheet isn't super long. And so you can easily kind of go through and see what's going on and try to figure it out. But I will touch on the menu tabs here. So this is basically, let me go to the pages and open this up. Yeah, it's a tabs module tab module. And so you can easily add more items here. If you add too many though, that's where these are lining up. So I could, for example, add another one and call it, like bar, like from the bar or something like that. And then you can see it added bar there. Then if I pull this down, at some point I have those switching to stack. So you might have to change when, if you add more items, you might have to change when these change to stack. And that's here in the CSS. I'm probably guessing it would be, well, let me just tell you. $767 it looks like. So yeah, somewhere in here it's doing, it looks like right here. So you could cut those out and do a new one at a different breakpoint or whatnot. Or I could change this right here to a different number, and then it would do it at a different time. Then you would have to copy all the CSS in and replace your old CSS. So if you want to add a ton more items to this, that's what I would do. Let me go ahead and get rid of that one. And then these inside here, they're pretty tricky to update. If you go in, you'll see that there's code in here. That's because just to make these have two columns, it's not really by default that Divi does this. But I'll show you how to update it. That way you can get an idea. So what I would recommend is probably just probably clicking in here and selecting all, copy, go to your editor, new, and then paste it in. And this is HTML, so I would probably just save this as menu.html, like on the desktop or something like that. So there, it kind of gives you an idea of what's happening here. So you can see I have the left side here, left half, and that's the closing div. So I like to go in here and try to command bracket these to make them kind of make sense. So here's the Divi item. Bracket that over. Actually, I think there's a Beautify. There's a Beautify add-on you can add that should do this for you. But I'll just do it here real quick. It won't take long. And then the right half right here. So I'll go down. There we go. That looks a little cleaner. So here, let's try to pull this up so we can kind of look and see. So here's our left half, and there's the Widowmaker right here, and the description and the cost of $12.95. These subs are doing the, I just forgot what it's called. I think it's called Supersede, I think. But it puts the font up there, like that. If you didn't have these, then they would all be this big, this 12. So it's a classy way to do that. And so yeah, so there's one menu item right there. 1775 is right here, Double Trouble right there, and then it switches to the right half, which we have the breakfast burger. Let me make this full. The breakfast burger right here, the Half Windsor, and the Hall of Fame. So if I wanted to add one to this left side, you'll also notice that every item has a class of menu item, and then last menu item left or last menu item right. That's making it so that there's not a border. This border is going after these, and you'll notice these ones at the bottom, they don't have that border. So that's what's taking that border and removing it. And then the reason why I have left and right is that when they stack to mobile, we want them all to have a border on the bottom, except the very bottom one. So then it tells the one on the left then to add a border, and it leaves this one off. So there's a little bit, like I said, the menu is going to be most of this tutorial, because you can't, if I were just to grab this last one, copy and duplicate it like so, that's fine, but I need to go up here and take off this last menu left, and then I can just call this one new item, and we'll say it's super expensive. It's $114.95. And then on the right side, let's say I wanted to add 2 new items. Well, then I'm just going to copy the last 2 here. So there's menu 1, and then from this div to the first closing one there, copy that, put my 2 in there, Half Windsor Hall of Fame, and we'll say new item 1, and it's $112, and then new item 2, and it's $219. It's really expensive. And then again, I have to get rid of only the last menu can have this class, so I'm just going to get rid of that like so. Alright, that looks pretty good. And I just realized I didn't save a backup. So before I do anything, I'm going to go to a new blank deal, copy these again, paste them in, and I'm going to save this as menu original. .html. That way when I'm done with this tutorial I can put it back to how it was. There we go. So I can get rid of that. Alright, here's the new one that we just did. It's a little longer. I'm going to copy all this, go in, paste it in, save it. And this is just the burgers too. But you can now see here's our new item number 1. Here's our new item on the left. Here's the new item on the right. And then when I go down to get these together, you can see there that they're all stacked. And only the last one here doesn't have a border bottom. But the new item here, it does have one now, because they're all stacked, and that last menu item left class is that work there. But if I pull it out here, it doesn't have one now. So that's how this works. If you wanted to insert pictures in here, you could. They would probably go, I'd probably recommend inserting them. You have to do them with HTML code, so like the image HTML tag is what you would need to use. So I'd go here and copy this, and then just replace with your URL for your image, the alt, the height, and the width of your image. That's what I would do. And then, you know, to get that URL for your image, you go to your media library and say, this is the picture I want here. It's this guy right here. You would need to copy all this. And that's what you would use to do that. So again, we can't support everything that you want to do with this menu, but if you're just looking to add items to it, that what I just did will show you how to do that. And so I'm actually going to go back now and put in my original. So here's my original menu. So I'm going to select it, copy it, go in here to the tabs, the burgers. Yeah, I'm going to put that in there. People kept asking for a restaurant theme, and this was just the easiest way I thought to do the menu with these tabs. But the tabs don't have columns, so you have to make your own, and that's why we needed the this right half and left half in there. All right, so that is the menu. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. Don't need that back here. And so I'd leave things the same as much as you can. You know, edit the CSS at your own risk. Our support is basically guaranteed to get you to the demo setup, and then after you make changes after that, you're kind of on your own. I'll hit the full menu too while we're at it. So the full menu, let me look at that page, because I think that's more of a regular type kind of page. I mean, at the very top we have the same tab system. So if you make changes in one, you can just copy it and go to the other page and paste it in. That'd be fine. But yeah, this page is more like you'd expect. So it'd be much easier to go in here and add images in here. This is more like a full menu. So what you could do is you could ditch this whole tab thing and just have like a 4-column text, and if I click burger, it scrolls me down to here, and I can look at the burgers. Or if I click side, it scrolls me down. But I just thought it was cool having this option here, or having this option down here where they're all kind of hanging out here. Okay, so that's the menu. Let me go back to the home page here. This reservation right now is just a Divi form. So if you do go in and you swap this out with an open table form, you might have to take some of these styles here and apply them to the open table form if they let you do that. So you can see here around line 478 is where a lot of these styles are. I think I probably have them. Yeah, here we go, reservations. So reservations row, the hours, this section over here, hours, the silverware, which is this guy, the details of the hours, that's all right there. And then you got the form H3 up here, and then you start getting into there's the form text right there, silverware, and then the reservations form, which is this guy right there, and here's all the input styling for the text area and the forms. And then when you click on them, it gives those things. So you could have a link to Open Table here, a button that just takes them there, or you can try to put the Open Table link here, or form here, and then try to style it to make it look like this. Or you could use, I mean, if there's not a ton of reservations, you could use this form and be fine, or put a gravity form in here instead, and then use this to style it. This thing's cool. This border here is a new CSS rule I had never used before. It's this outline, 1 pixel dashed, and this is the color for it. I'm going to make it white so you can really see it. and then this outline offset, like, because normally it's just, I think normally it's just right at the edge there. So if I do, whoops, if I do 3, it's going to be there. 33 is where I had it. You know, but I felt like 33 is the right way to go. But even out here looks pretty nice too. So that was something new that I had never used before. And let me just look over if anything else. I think these background images, I think they were all made in Photoshop with the color treatments. Yeah, they were all made in Photoshop. I think this one was too. Let me take a look. Yep, that one. They have a overlay in Photoshop to them. Okay, kind of adding some these quote images here that on mobile do some adjusting. This is the gallery, and it has one of my pet peeves in the gallery is that on desktop it shows 4 across, which is great. On mobile it shows like 2, which is great, but then on an iPad or on tablet it shows 3. It shows 3 across, but it still insists on giving you 4, and so then you're left with 2. So if you do 6, then your desktop will have 6 showing and 2 empty spaces. So 12 is actually the perfect number, but I didn't want 12 of these going around. So I'd probably just swap these out for individual images that way, but they're set up as a gallery right now. And then there's that border again. Just note, if you swap out this burger image, I'm using some background positioning for this guy. So right here it's background position center bottom, but you'll see as I come in closer it changes to background position center 68%, because center bottom was cutting it off like that. And so then so at this breakpoint I thought 68% is about right, and I think it stays there. Oh, it goes back to center bottom at the very end, because otherwise, I mean, that was 68%, which is fine, but that looked better. Yeah, I think that's it. Yep. Cool. Alright, well, I think that's enough for this guy. Everything else is pretty self-explanatory. Here's some more icons from Font Awesome again. So if you wanted to add to that, just use the technique we went over earlier. The contact form is pretty self-explanatory. And then I do have a test post here. In the test post I have a block quote set to that font, the same as the title font. So again, since those are, let me see here, that's an H1, so it's going to use it, yep. And then the block quote is being set. Block quote, line 30 it looks like. Right here. So you would just copy this and paste it in theme options and put something else instead. And then save it, or overwrite it. So yeah, hopefully this video has been helpful, and I hope that this theme saves you a ton of time when you go to build your next restaurant site, or whatever you end up deciding to build with this. But I hope it saves you some time. Thanks for watching this video. Thanks for being a customer of Superfly. Check us out at BeSuperfly.com. Again, this is John. Thank you so much for being a part and using this theme, and have a great day. We'll see you later.